Hey there Legionnaires, and welcome back to the channel and to part 2 of my Bicolline 2019 video. So I really recommend you watch part 1 if you haven't, so that you're just caught up to date and that you understand everything that happened. So without further ado, roll the intro. So that year at Bicolline, there was a special event held, which was the Moon Ceremony, which was held in the name of the moon, of course, and of feminine energy. It was organized by Westbrook and Adria. How it worked is that everyone gathered at Ordo Servi camp, where the whole procession gathered and everyone got ready, and then we made our way through the lands of Bico by walking through pretty much the main street, which was amazing because there were so many people there. And actually a lot of people had made specific outfits for that ceremony. So people were all dressed fabulously. It was amazing to see so many people gathered for this. There was one specific outfit, which is probably one of my favorite, which was this moth outfit here. I mean, look at it, it's just a moth. It's perfect. It made so much sense with the moon, and the player was just running around acting like a moth. Like if there was a campfire, people were like, no, quick, can't let her go there. It was very funny to see. When we got to the area where the ceremony was held, this roleplay scene started in which everyone gathered in a circle and then people would come forward and say a few words and sometimes even give an offering.
As the priestess of the last quarter, I offer strength in new times. The darkness will come and the light will too.
So it was very powerful to see all these people gathered there, especially a lot of women or people identifying as women. So it was very cool, especially this moment where there was 3 generations of women that came forward. So it was just amazing to see all 3 generations being present. It was just an amazing moment, and I feel like a lot of people felt very validated and very much as this they found a nice place for them at Bico with that celebration. If ever you are attending Bico this year, I would really recommend joining the Facebook group Bicolline Moon Ceremony 2022. If ever you want to keep track of everything happening and so that you can make sure to be able to attend. You don't need to sign up or anything for it. I'm sure you'll be able to find it if ever you find yourself present at Bico. After the moon ceremony, we moved a bit deeper in the woods to a different area where there was actually a Fae ceremony being held. After the moon ceremony ended, we made our way a bit deeper in the woods, and at this point everything was starting to get pretty dark because it was the time of the day. But this was actually for a Fae ceremony hosted by Twilight Dawn. So as we moved deeper, we started having a bit more guards with us, and there was also some people that actually had big bowls of glowing rocks that you could grab. And then after that, when we made our way, suddenly a bunch of people had glow-in-the-dark stuff on them. That ceremony was being held pretty much to strengthen the presence of the Fae at the lands of Bico, but also just for people that felt they were connected to the Fae world so that they could join, or just people that were interested in them. And the Fae ceremony started.
Of the earth, of the land of Fairyton, is the lore of Canuck-Nashi. Hail each day of the forest gentry, pale dark spirits, help us free, help us free, help us free, help us free.
Fellows, friends, Fae. The circle is set. The magic has been called. The veil stands before us.
That was also a very, very cool roleplay scene and presentation. There was some lights, music, and like a whole speech that was, it was pretty much like watching a play. It was really cool to see, especially since I had no idea what was going to happen.
Everything is dying. As the magic slowly drains and disappears, we are going extinct. And what we need more than anything else is more Fae, more family. People here that love us for who and what we are and will not chase us down with pitchforks or torches simply because we are different.
And at one point there was even the jester that was present at the moon ceremony this whole time revealed himself as being something much darker. The player playing them, called Yorick, is a very good actor, and it was really cool because he had this classic jester outfit, and it really gave into this weird, oh no, what's gonna happen? But
There are those that stand before you that have a heritage they no longer wish to keep. I offer you a heritage for a heritage. I will trade you that which those before you wish to offer up in exchange for blessings for those who cannot.
But thankfully, the Mother Fae and the Fae Present were able to push them back to where they came from, and nothing else happened. And even then, at that point, we had mercenaries posted around us just in case other parties would try to come in and disrupt the ceremony. But thankfully, everything went swimmingly well, and a lot of people passed the threshold into, I would assume, the Fae world, or at least into their connection to the Fae. I may have also done it, so who knows, maybe Grog will become a Bone Fae, which is pretty much the great cousins of Tooth Fairies. So who knows what the future will bring, but that might happen. Again, these two ceremonies were just really cool and just organized by player, and it really does show that there is roleplay in Bico, and there is definitely a player base for it that's interested in it and that wants to partake. So keep that in mind if ever someone says, oh, there's no roleplay at Bico, you just gotta know where to find it. That week at Bico, there was also another event called the Dragon Queen Night, which was pretty much a drag queen event organized and featuring players from Bicolline. Being someone who's always game for anything funny, at that point I asked my good friends Roll, Sairi, and Chapola if they could lend me stuff so that Grog could become himself a drag queen. So at that point, with their help, I became Groguette de Poulet, which is a play on a word on Croquette de Poulet, which just means chicken nugget. I mean, very fitting, right? So I became Grog's cousin. So I had the shawl, I had a flower crowns with lights in it that I got from Larp box. I had a hand fan, even a corset. I fit in it, surprisingly. And I followed along with my friend's role character. Well, they have two characters, and their second character is actually named Princess Dwarf Dwarf Dwarf. So we both made our way to the event, turning heads as we went, which was very funny because I would reveal myself. Like when I noticed these people watching, I would just turn around and lower my hand fan and reveal the beautiful Croquette de Poulet, which was hiding underneath. When we made our way to the event after that, at the event it was just a very cool presentation of different sets made and prepared by the players of Bico. Even a limbo at one point, which I came second. Well, Croquette came second. Even in the corset, I was able to get under, but I sadly got beaten by a fierce 5-year-old girl who could just walk under. I don't have the capacities for that, but it was very cool just to see everyone, and also for them to organize that, because all the tips, because you could actually tip the performers, that all went to the players and the organizers, so it's very cool for them to organize something and have a little thank you for their efforts. Another one of my adventures that week also happened to be at night, which is when my friends and I, after a few drinks, went down to the bridge that connects Bico and the battlefield, and we just stood on that bridge and we decided that it was now the Bardic Bridge, and that anyone who dared to try to walk through would have to pay with their lives. Or a song. So at that point, we just stood there singing shanties, songs, and whatever. And anyone that passed, we asked them to sing a song. So we gathered a pretty good crew of people, because some people would pass, sing a song, and then they'd be like, you know what, I'll stick a bit to sing with them. At one point, we even had a guy who tried to cross with a half-broken guitar, but did his best to play us a song. And it was very funny to all be there singing songs under the moonlight. And I think we will definitely be doing that again, because it was a very cool moment to have as a group because normally you would sing under next to a campfire, but at that point being under the stars like that on the bridge was a very cool moment. So I did mention that there are a few events throughout the week. I've gone through a lot of them, but one thing I haven't mentioned, and which is probably one of my favorite things at Bico, are the music shows at night. So every night at Bico there's a different music show that you can attend, and there's just something magical about being surrounded by people wearing medieval garb or like fantasy garb in a medieval town and just be jamming to music with your friends. And my friends and I always go super hard with the dancing, to the point where we coined the phrase, "What is moist, make never dry," which pretty much just encompasses the fact that whatever the weather, how hot it is, we will always dance as hard as we can. There was one night where the Swindlers were playing, one of my favorite bands that presents themselves there. They're pretty much an Irish folk group. And my friend Eagle and I got onto the rocks at the front of the stage and we were just dancing. At one point, the lead violinist took off his shirt and climbed down the rock, well, from the stage onto the rocks, and he was just playing his violin next to us while we were just dancing. So it was really cool because you can tell that the Swindlers are really having the time of their life when they perform there. So it's cool to see them being as passionate about being at Bico than everyone in the crowd. I did mention the battles at Bico in part 1 of my Bico 2019 experience, but I would like to announce that since after all Grog is now part of DTCO, which is a merchant guild, he is now what we call a Boatbarian. Pirate, no. Barbarian of the seas, yes. Boatbarian, quite simple. So I was just thinking that since a lot of people may go to Bico without necessarily knowing a lot of people or knowing who to side with, if ever there is a battle and you want to attend and you want to fight but you don't really know which side to go on, just try to find me on the battlefield and I will be glad to take you into the Boatbarian squad, and who knows, maybe you'll get a little something for your service to our mighty cause. Another thing I wanted to mention, which I mentioned in my other Bico video from 2018, is again we saw the angry mob of villagers while we were visiting Bugman, the king of the dwarves. So at that point we were just standing there at his house and he had his doors open and we suddenly hear chanting and we turn around and there they are again, the angry mob of villagers, which actually happens to be, if I am correct, from Redemption, which is a guild that part of their thing is that they always are very, very serious. They don't really smile, they don't really joke, but that can get a bit heavy after a bit. So what they do is that they dress up in these simple villager rags and clothes and they just go around yelling for fun. So it's always very cool to see them and very funny. Because we were chatting with Bugman about his wide array of brews that he makes, and we just had the villagers chanting and tossing potatoes at people, which one of them did toss a potato at me and it almost hit me. It was a very good throw, whoever that was. Very impressive. Throughout this video, I did mention my friends quite a lot and through part 1 as well, and that is because honestly, without them, my Bico experience would not be what it was. I cannot thank them enough and I cannot wait for just to see them again, because to be honest, they are what makes Bico magical, and also just the people at Bico make what Bico is. So I just want to thank everyone who was featured in my videos or everyone that chatted with me, because without you all, I would not have such a great time there. I grew as a person and as a player from my experiences with you and my interactions. So thank you again just for being who you are, and I cannot wait to see you this year at Bico. I want to thank you all again so much for watching and for your patience between these videos. I do have more Bico videos planned, including some at special events I attended that should be coming up soon, especially with now the Larp season slowly creeping back in. It's definitely gives me more motivation to watch Larp footage without feeling sad that I'm not LARPing. But in the meantime, if you would like, head over to TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, all with LARP Legion, of course, if ever you want a daily dose of LARP or just a more frequent dose of LARP. So I've been Carl, thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe to join the Legion.